can be seen. Okay, great. So I want to give you all instructions on um, reporting misconduct by a officer or the court, also known as a judge. And so I'm going to pull myself up so that I can see that I am. Um, I'm going to make sure I can be seen and heard and all of that good stuff. So bear with me one moment. I need to test this. Okay. All right. So I can be seen. I see them on this live. So I can be seen. All right. So I'm also going to go live on Facebook because I want to make sure that I am putting information out there for several groups of people. So I'm going to go live here as well. All right. So um, I am sharing how to file a complaint against a judge because in the case of Antoine Thompson, who is the subject of my investigative journalism at this time, I have found some extremely disturbing news. And so I am going to try to share my screen so that you all can see what's going on. Now, for my Facebook people, I think I posted on Instagram and have tied in what I'm doing through Instagram and threads. And so if you followed that, you know that I went to look up Antoine Thompson's charges. When I went into the system to look up his charges, there was a charge of panhandling from July. And then in October the 31st of last year, he was arrested for panhandling, simple battery, obstructing an officer, which to people who pay attention, a lot of times when you hear an obstruction charge by an officer, um, you're if you ask why are you arresting me, that's obstruction. If you pull your hand up for them to not put the handcuffs on, that's so often simple battery. And so when I read it, I I thought it was possibly a charge that was similar to that. And so I wanted to look deeper into his case. And so as I looked deeper into his case, I went to the courthouse. I reviewed the charges for myself. And I saw something very disturbing. So in Antoine Thompson's first case, it was a self defense case. He should have never been arrested. There were witnesses, there were video evidence. All of it was available to the police before they arrested him. And so when they put it out that he was wanted in a deadly stabbing, instead of dropping the charges and letting the man go, they put him on blast as being a wanted murderer. Then they arrested him, and he wound up doing almost a year in jail. The reason why I was able to uncover his case is I was doing research on all the murder cases in Atlanta in the last 3 years. At that time, it was 3 years. I researched over 500 murder cases, and I uncovered a lot. I'm not going into it now, but let's just say there's a lot of lying going on. There's a lot of lying going There's even murder cases that I knew about because I knew people who were being held for those charges, and they were not a part of the official record of murder cases that the city was reporting, that the APD was reporting. And so, lies, dishonesty, corruption at the highest level. So, when I came across Thompson's case, I saw that his charges were dropped. So that piqued my interest. Like, okay, why were his charges dropped? And as I went and looked inside of the system, I saw that this man was writing his own motions, including a motion to recuse a judge. And that judge's name was Judge Rachel Carnicel. Now, Rachel Carnicel is a very interesting person. She allowed a mother whose 8 week old baby was found with cocaine in his system to be released from jail after a couple of months. And she was allowed to go into rehab, and she was even allowed to plead first offender, which is it's unheard of. Like, you're not supposed to be allowed to plead first offender in that type of case. It was a murder case. And so I wish you could read the I wish you could read the transcript. She was so ready to let this woman out of jail. Oh, where's the document? I need the motion. Draft the papers and I'll sign them. I mean, she was ready to let this mother out of jail. But when Antoine Thompson came before her, she was telling him to be quiet. She was telling him he had no business representing himself because he didn't know what he was doing. He was going to say things that were going to get him in legal trouble, blah, 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 blah. And the whole time, this man is telling them, I am innocent. I was defending myself. There's no reason for me to be here. And so it wasn't until, from what I saw, when he put in a motion to recuse her, that was the only time she decided, oh, wait a minute. I know how to understand evidence. I know what it means to give a person the benefit of my judicial discretion and make sure that I do not support charges that should have never been filed. And so she somehow pulled herself together and dropped the charges against this man. But it took, I want to say it took a year. It could have took a little over a year or right at a year. It was more than enough time for him to lose everything, anything that he had, apartment, um, employment, anything that he had, he lost within that time because of the false charges against him. So, as I am going through his new case, the case he was arrested for on Halloween of last year, lo and behold, I see him write another motion to recuse. And this time he's attempting to recuse the judge that was in my family member's case, the same judge who was refusing to schedule court dates, the same judge who was refusing to allow my loved one to speak, the same judge who allowed perjury by the state and denied bond based on perjured testimony by the state. This is the same judge presiding over this man's case. So Antoine Thompson writes the motion to recuse Judge Cox, the new judge, and guess who rules on that motion? You guessed it, Judge Rochelle Carnicel. Unbelievable. That has to be a conflict. That has to be a conflict. And so, what I want to do is, I want to show you all how to file a complaint against a judge. This is an important skill to have in life. How do you file complaints against people who are in charge? And I am going to see if I can share my screen. And I'm going to share my screen on YouTube. So if you all want to take a look at how I go through this process, you can definitely do that on YouTube. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and I am going to hope and pray that I am doing this right. So in Georgia, the Judicial Commission, it's called the Judicial Qualifications. The Judicial Qualifications Commission of Georgia is where you would want to go and file this complaint. Now, um, I've done this quite a few times, so I am familiar with what is required. So I've gone to their website. I clicked the link about complaints, and it's the Judicial Qualifications Commission of Georgia. So you would click here on the complaint form. There's also a phone number, which is pretty much worthless, but you put in your information, the person who's making the complaint. You are going to um, you are going to make sure that you include the contact information that they're requesting. And I'll scroll up and they want me to definitely make sure I put that in. All right. And then you will put in the judge that you're making the complaint against. So the first complaint is going to be against Judge Carnesell. Um, and yeah, so um, this is Atlanta, Fulton County. Now, the thing about filing these type of complaints, in so many situations, it looks like, oh, this is doing nothing. This doesn't mean anything. They're not taking action. They're not going to do anything. They found no wrongdoing. Well, part of the reason that I made sure that I filed complaints is because I understand that you leave a paper trail. So I wrote a narrative here um, about the situation, and I wanted to make sure I had it all together before I made my complaint so that it's spell checked, it flows coherently. I had an opportunity to make sure that I am doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I put all my facts together and made sure I had my dates correct and explained who I am and why I am reporting the wrongdoing of this judge. So I added it to the statement of facts where they want, greater details about the allegation. Um, what is the name and number of your case? So let me go. Let me go and see if I can find it. Bear with me one moment, y'all, because I need to go back to my video because I did take videos of what I found in the course of my investigation. So let me go back to the case number. Okay, hold on one second. One second. What is the name and number of your case? Okay, case number, case name, Okay, so I was able to add the case number. I was able to add the case number and the name of the case. Um, they want to know what kind of case, and of course, this is going to be criminal. What is my relationship? I am other. And in this role, I'm an investigative journalist. And then I also made sure that I put in a um, a Freedom of Information request in Georgia that is called an open records request. So I want to see the video. I want to see the video of him being arrested. I want to see, was he fighting? Was he attempting to obstruct justice? Was he raising hell? What was he doing? Because according to y'all, like he committed battery, he was obstructing, he was doing all kinds of stuff. And I want to see this because um I know people who were in custody with him, and these people said he wasn't violent at all. Like he appears to have some mental health challenges. And it was based on his demeanor that maybe maybe he's had some mental health challenges. That doesn't give anybody a right to violate his his freedom, to violate him as a human being. It doesn't give anybody a right to do that. So now they want me to attach copies of any relevant documents to support my claim that the judge has engaged in judicial misconduct or has a disability. That part is really interesting. I probably will go into that in a future video. But I am going to make copies of the files that I have. In this case, I'm going to upload them so that they can see, yes, George Carnicel is a judge who presided over Antoine Thompson's case in 2020 for the 2022 um, alleged murder that was self-defense. And she has presently ruled that his current judge is she's currently ruled that his current judge should not be recused, even though it appears um, that his charges are just as trumped up as the first ones. So I'm going to pull that together because I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row before I hit submit. I don't want these people to have any excuse. I don't want them to have to go through any extra work to actually do their job. I want to give them the evidence clearly laid out, clearly articulated, and I want to support them. I want to really support them in making a fair decision. Now, are they going to make a fair decision? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so because in this situation, no judge. Let me show you who Judge Carnicel is. Judge Carnicel, and I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if I can share this screen. So Judge Rochelle Carnicel, um, she is she's the woman who told Antoine Thompson that he needs to be quiet. And he doesn't need to represent himself because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to say some things that are going to get him in a lot of trouble. And thankfully, Antoine did not listen to that because it was fighting for himself and filing his own motions, including a motion to recuse her that allowed him to be set free. The young lady that The young lady that Judge Carnesel allowed to that the young lady that Judge Carnesel allowed to be released after her 8 week old baby was found dead with cocaine in his system. Um, this woman um, was allowed to plead first offender. And she was allowed to um, I don't know why this can be so hard to find. Like, I know her name. um, I have the case documented. Like, I wasn't going to let that case go because she actually got $1 bond in the death of her child. And then when she's arrested a couple months later, she's pregnant. She's continuing to do drugs. I know someone that she was actually in the jail cell with for the 4 or 5 months that she did in jail. She was doing drugs pregnant, according to this source. She was doing drugs while she was pregnant in the jail cell. And so Judge Carnesel allowed her to be released to go into rehab. And then she told her if she stayed clean, she would be able to plead first offender. So the young woman's name is McKaylee Nevels. She was charged in 2021 after her baby was found with cocaine in his system. And this is a judge who has said, I'm not gonna I'm not going to recuse myself. This is her and the father were charged, but she is the one who was allowed by Judge Carnesel to um, take a first offender plea. You're not supposed to be able to do that in Georgia in a murder case. She was allowed to take a first offender plea. She was allowed to get out of jail after only serving a couple of months pre-trial, go into rehab, and completely wipe her slate clean. Does she deserve it? I'm going to assume she deserves it as much as anyone else. So, for anyone else who was charged with a murder that they have admitted that they've done, I want to see them get the same level of treatment that she was able to get. Get the drug rehabilitation treatment she was able to get the ability to get on first offender. Like, if it was fair for her, it should be fair for everyone in her situation. But as you can see, it's not. It's not. And so, all right. So I wanted to definitely make sure I follow up with everything that I've been able to find out so far in the Antoine Thompson case. I am going to make sure that I post on. I'm going to make sure that I post any updates that I find. But I want you to know that uh, there is a way for you to file a complaint against a judge, and that is exactly what I'm doing. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you will see a step by step of what I do. Once I get pictures of my proof, which I have proof that Judge Carnesel in the Antoine Thompson case was the original judge who violated his rights until she dropped those charges. And then she followed up by being the judge in the motion to recuse underneath his new case, which is through Judge Cox, under Judge Cox. If you all remember, Judge Cox is a judge who was recused in my loved one's case. And we have a ongoing lawsuit against him at this time for the illegal warrant that was taken out against me. And so I want you all to know how to file charges or complaints against a judge, not because the commission is always going to side with you or they're going to do what you want them to do, but because this is your way of exercising your ability to leave a paper trail. Sometimes you want to leave a paper trail so that people are aware that you know how to put things in writing that will support you later on. So I wanted to make sure that I give you all updates concerning Antoine Thompson's case because from what I have been able to find, it looks like he was accused of panhandling in July. He was arrested for panhandling on Halloween and he's been held in jail ever since. Again, the simple battery charge and the obstruction of justice charge against him, to my practice ear, from my experience with these things, simple battery can be you resisting arrest when they go to put the handcuffs on you. Resisting arrest or obstructing an officer can be, why are you arresting me? Why are you trying to lock me up? So I know the code for some of those things. And so I did request through the open records portal email. I want to see the arrest of Antoine Thompson. I want to see myself, Antoine Thompson, assault an officer and obstruct justice. I want to see it. Let's see. The people who were in custody with him said they did not see him exhibit any violence. They did not see him be a danger to anyone. So I want to see. I want to see it. So I am going to continue this. I am going to make sure um, that I do all I can to complete the Judicial Qualification Commission complaint form with the evidence that they need to make a fair decision about what is happening in Antoine Thompson's case. And I want you all to join me in calling for the release of the video footage, the release of that footage, so that we can see was he being a danger? Was he committing an offense at that time, or was he being harassed because he beat the state? Because he beat a false charge that they wanted to give him probably 20 or 30 years for. Was this arrest retaliation? Was it based on the fact that a man with mental challenges, alleged mental challenges, a man who may be unhoused or housing insecure was able to beat you? When you want people to believe they need to pay lawyers $50,000? Like, that's what's at stake. That is what's at stake. And that is what I hope you all are going to stay tuned for. I hope you all are going to see this story as a exercise in what is a human being capable of. What can a human being accomplish when they believe that they are capable of it? All right, so go to the YouTube video for my Facebook people. Go to the YouTube video for the step by step instructions on how to file this complaint. It is not difficult. You just want to be prepared. Okay, you all have a good night.